I'm going to demonstrate how to use Sprouts/Gardner to deploy a website to the internet almost from scratch. So I'll start by creating a Linux server. This is Vultr. Vultr is a VPS provider. You can use any provider, DigitalOcean, Hetzner, there's like tons of them. All you need to do is provision a Linux box. Find the cheapest thing you can find. The cheapest one here is $5 a month. I can even disable backup to make it even cheaper, but I'll keep it for now. Configure, choose, I think here you just need to choose an operating system. You can choose Ubuntu, Debian, Alma. Alma is a Fedora/Red Hat derivative, so it works too. I'll just go with Ubuntu. And you don't have to set anything else here. So there's label. Label is just a thing for the Vultr interface. Doesn't have any effect. So I click deploy server. Now Vultr is going to create a virtual private server for me. And the next step I'm going to do is I want to create a subdomain. So this is a leftover from an earlier demo. So let's create a new one from scratch. So this London server is still being provisioned, and I can probably refresh to see if the IP is ready. Still not. Not sure if I can go to server details. Okay, so there's an IP address. And let's create an A record. In the host, I will put the domain name that I want the website to have. Let's call it leaflet2. So it's going to be leaflet2.hasan.dev, and it's going to point to the IP address of this server that we have just created. I'm going to set TTL to 1 minute. This helps ensure that the DNS propagation happens a lot faster. And now we just wait a few minutes for this to be ready. It says your server might still be finishing installing and booting up. Well, we're gonna try anyway. So inside Gardner is basically going to manage the server for us. So instead of logging into the terminal and then figuring out SSH keys and then figuring out what packages to install, what config files to edit, none of that. You just put your server information here. London Ubuntu label, it can be anything you want. I copy the IP address, copy the admin username, and copy the password. Now verify and set up. This will verify that the connection information we have works, and if it works, it's going to install our software on the server. And the whole thing should only take a few seconds. There's upload. Upload is basically the slowest part of the process. Installing itself is like around 5 or 6 seconds max. Right? So now it says setup successful. So now we are done. So the server is ready, it has our software. So it can start serving websites. We just need to tell it what website to serve. And that is basically giving it the domain name. So in this case, leaflet2.hasan.dev. The local directory is optional. I can put something here and then that will be the initial content for the website, or I can leave it empty and Gardner is just going to create a directory for me. And when I click setup, it's going to publish the website and it's going to verify the DNS and the SSL. The DNS in this case, it looks like it has propagated. SSL might take some time to be provisioned, but yeah, it looks like it's ready. So now, this website is basically live on this server. This part here is basically a URL, although it doesn't look like it. When I click on it, it's going to open up the website. So the website is live, it's being served from HTTPS. It is just empty because there is nothing on it. There's also the local host. Local host is going to show me a local host version of this website, and it's empty as well. I can click on files, and files is going to open the directory that is supposed to have the content for this website, and as you can see, it's empty. So I can do one thing. For example, I can open the directory inside Sublime Text so that I note the path, and then inside Sublime Text I just open it. So it's called Sprouts, and this is the website. So it's empty. I can put some file in it. So let's call it index.html. I'm gonna say hello. Okay, now this is the local version, so it has the word hello. The live version is still empty. Now I can publish. When I publish, it's going to upload the file, and then it's going to be on the live version. Now, so I have now an almost empty website, except it has one index.html file. Now this is kind of boring, so I've prepared a kind of a template, so to speak, a bunch of files that will show a bit more interesting content. So when I force refresh, this is again localhost. It says welcome to this blog. So this is a sample blog with the content being dummy content generated by AI just as a filler. And you can have basically some static pages, and you have some blog entries, so to speak. And again, this is just an example. And the interesting thing about this example is it's a static website, but these are template files. So index TMPL is a template file. And that means I don't have to repeat the entire HTML structure for every page. So this is one of the articles. It just extends the blog template, sets a few variables for the title, and then it uses a markdown filter to write the content in markdown. And so what this the joy of simple mornings. Again, this was generated by AI, so you can treat it as filler content. But just to show that this is actually working, I can just put an arbitrary word here, and then you can see it reflected here. And yes, this is actually markdown, so code sample. It has a different style. You can also put quote, and I haven't set up the CSS for it to look nice, but it is markdown with code blocks and quote blocks and all that other stuff. So anyway, now that I have this templated content, so notice it's templated, but it's still static, meaning the content of the page is not really going to change from one request to another. The template is just to generate the content, so to speak. So it's kind of it not only gives you the ability to make websites easier, it removes the need for a static site generator, because the template can do anything you want. So there is no build step. You just have the templated content. So let's publish it. This is going to upload our new files and then delete the old file that we had. And let's check the live website. Might have to force refresh, and there it is. This is the domain that we just set up, and it's pointing to the server that we just created, and it's hosting our website. We never had to edit any Linux config file. So this is basically it. This is the demo.